All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy 1 Million Cups Wednesday. My name is Tyler DeMars. I'm with the North Dakota Small Business Development Centers, and I will be your MC this morning. I always like when they show this video because it's a really neat video, but it's really cool and like stylistic, and then I feel like I have to match that level, and it's just a lot of pressure. So be kind to me this morning, okay? So first off, how many first timers here this morning? Got a few. Welcome. Glad to see you here. You might be asking your first experience with 1 Million Cups. What is this? Why do we do this every Wednesday morning? So 1 Million Cups is basically we're putting structure to a community coffee date. Okay, we're putting an entrepreneur, a small business owner, a nonprofit founder, anybody doing interesting work in Bismarck, Mandan on stage, giving them the opportunity to tell their story, to talk about what they're trying to achieve, what the vision is they have for their business organization, maybe what some of the critical challenges they have. And then we're facilitating a question and answer session, kind of acting as a collective advisory board or sounding board for that individual, hopefully giving them some insights, helping them make some connections. We want to see them succeed. We kind of want to set up an ecosystem around them that can help them succeed. So the question we're asking every week is, can we change the face of our startup community by connecting local entrepreneurs over 1 million cups of coffee? All right, we have a number of organizations in town that support our 1 Million Cups program here. So these folks and organizations might give time from themselves or their people. They might write checks for us. They might donate a piece of equipment to our AV booth up there. But we appreciate the support from all of these organizations. And of course, if you know folks from any of these places, make sure you let them know you appreciate their support for 1 Million Cups as well. All right, as always, we'll have our Q&A session after Jay presents this morning. So Ross, I believe, will be on the mic mug. So get your questions ready. As Jay's presenting, be thinking into where you want to know a little more. What are you more curious about? Do you have any insights for them? Make sure you have your questions and comments ready once we're having that discussion. First, community announcements. As always, we're celebrating every week and every day with National Day Calendar. National Father-in-Law Day is July 30th. So you could grab a beer with your father-in-law. You could cook a meal with your father-in-law. You could hit the easy button like I will likely do and send a nice thoughtful text, but today's a day to show some appreciation for your father-in-law. I'll say my father-in-law was a longtime history teacher and wrestling coach at our own Bismarck High School, so shout out to Mr. Carter, who's now enjoying retirement, but anybody that went to BHS in the mid to late 80s into the 90s might remember Mr. Carter teaching history and coaching wrestling, but happy National Father-in-Law Day. All right, a few announcements here. This one is for the Mandan Business Pitch Challenge, which is back from being on a year or two hiatus. This program is for businesses located in Mandan or planning to locate in Mandan. It also includes a 10-mile radius in Morton County around Mandan. Some of the requirements, if you're new or have been in business for under 2 years with under $250,000 in annual sales is the kind of the eligibility requirements. The application deadline for this is August 22nd. So you'd fill out an application. There's a committee that reviews those and picks 4 finalists that then prepare to pitch in front of a panel and pitch their business and the value it has to Mandan to win a pretty substantial prize package as part of this pitch challenge. So great opportunity to get your business idea out there. Great opportunity to get your idea in front of a room, which is always a valuable experience. And of course, you'll get some good mentorship and potentially some nice financial incentives too. So if you or anybody you know would qualify or could benefit from this program, please let them know about it. I think I have this one too. Our Bismarck Public Library continues to do an awesome job of organizing free events for the community. So this is family mini golf at the library, a fun indoor 9-hole course designed in partnership with the UMary PT physical therapy students. So this is Friday, August 8th from 6:30 to 8. Note that children under 10 must be accompanied by an adult, but a really neat free event at the library. My kids are getting into adults or teenagers now, so it's harder to get them to the library, but I miss when my kids were excited to go there because it is a really neat space in town. We got Suits and Boots with the Ann Carlson Centers. Chris is here. You're looking very casual today, Chris.
I'm looking very casual today because later I'll be over at the VFW at I Can Bike, which is an event that teaches kids with disabilities to ride a two-wheeled bicycle. So I'm getting my steps in, too. Suits and Boots for Ann Carlson is on August 14th. It's out at the Blackleg Ranch. It's a Western-themed fundraising event. There's dinner, there's live music, there's a wine pull, there's a live auction, there's a silent auction. There are some tickets left. We're actually starting to ask each of the sponsors, are you using all of your tickets? Because we're really excited that we're pretty full. We do still have some room for volunteers. If you're interested in being a sponsor and getting some seats, you should talk to me really quickly. If you are interested in volunteering, we have volunteer opportunities for setting up in the afternoon, in the ballpark of noon, and also for helping with the event itself, which would start at 5. Give me a holler if you're interested. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. All right, any other community announcements? I think Jania's got one.
Okay, this is just a quick, because we had something pretty cool happen this morning. You know, if you're a regular, if you're a newbie, hopefully they told you about our mug club, right? And hopefully you got mugged when you came in by Mark. He's a very nice gentleman, but he likes to mug people. But anyway, we had a really cool event happen in our mug club. I've been telling you all about these green stickers that you get if you bring a friend. And they are the fast track to swag. Well, Judy Daniels has been working the system, man, and she has brought so many new people that this morning she fast-tracked her way to a long-sleeve version of the 1 Million Cups t-shirt. So let's hear it for Judy. Woohoo! And I think you only have how many more? And you get 4 more, and then she gets the super secret Community Builder Award, which I actually do know what it is. You guys are just wondering if I do, but I do.
Congrats, Judy, and thank you for all the work you do bringing new peeps here. It's good to see the room full every week. Any other community announcements this morning? If none, note that if you ever have a community announcement, that 1mcbizman701@gmail.com. I know it's a mouthful. I made that email address, and I constantly regret making it that long every time I have to say that. But that's the email to send any community announcements to. If you have a slide you'd like to include, of course, we'd love for you to be here and make that announcement yourself. But if not, we're happy to make it for you. Just include some details in the email you send, and we'll make that announcement for you. All right, well, without further ado, let's get to our the reason we're here this morning. So today's presenter is, I'm really excited to hear Jay talk about Jaydobo. I'll say Jaydobo is a staple in our kitchen, his seasonings and his Jaybasco. When I was younger, it used to be you'd get really excited for like when your favorite band releases a new album. Now I'm really excited for when Jay releases a new product because I know I got to find it and get it in the kitchen. So Jay's going to tell us the Jaydobo story this morning. Let's welcome to stage here. Give him a warm 1 Million Cups welcome.
Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jay Parsons. I am the spiceologist behind Jaydobo. This is actually one of my second times speaking in front of a group, so bear with me. I learned in the Marines that they always started theirs with a joke, so what's the most annoying pepper? The one that's jalapeno business. So I really like comedy, and I like seasoning, so I kind of threw them both together. If you check out my Facebook page, I try to put a meme out there every day. And this is this is a pretty funny one here. What's Jaydobo all about? Okay, so Jaydobo is about, I don't know. Let me just explain how I came up with it anyway. So my son and I, we used to do survivor challenges where we'd go take a fishing pole. The first year we went, we took a fishing pole, a tarp, and a pot. And we went out to the Hart River at the BLM land at the Hart Butte Reservoir. So it's the river before that goes into Chida. So it's out by Hebron there. So the first year we went, we caught fish, and I brought some garlic, salt, and pepper that I mixed up in a jar. And we boiled the water, and it tasted like, I called it smoky gravy water. It was pretty disgusting, but so we caught fish and put the seasoning on there. So the next year we went, I decided to jazz it up a little bit. So I started researching online, and I came across an adobo seasoning. And so my son was in the kitchen, or I was in the kitchen, and he was in the living room, and he was reading off the ingredients. Like it said 2 tablespoons of garlic. So I'm like, garlic, I love garlic, let's do 6. Cumin, there's a teaspoon of cumin. Oh, let's put 3 or 4 of those in there. So I just added what I liked, took out what I didn't like, and then I liked a little heat, so I added a little bit of Carolina Reaper to it. And not very much. It kind of, you can use it the right way, and it's not, this craziness, because I'm not into that burning my face off and not being able to taste my food. So we came up with the seasoning, took it out, and it was really good. We caught a catfish and smoked it with the seasoning on there. And so we came back, and he used to work at Amber Waves, and he lived in Hebron, or he lived in Bismarck, but he would drive back and forth. So I told him, just stay at my house, and we can, you can stay with me during the week and then go home on the weekends. So at night we'd sit around drinking, and we're coming up with the logo, and because we always would do the hang loose sign to each other, like we'd be out fishing, like, yeah, that's it, yeah, right on. So I knew it was a little bit spicy, so I was like, well, let's put a pepper there, because you know how the people do the heart like that with their hand? So that was my idea behind the logo like that. And so I was a heavy equipment operator my whole life. I joined the Marines when I was in 95. I was a heavy equipment operator. I got out, worked for the railroad for a little while, met my future ex-wife, raised 6 kids together, got divorced, and so I became a single parent of 2 teenage daughters. And thinking that being married was tough, she taught those girls very well. So I was a heavy equipment operator my whole life. I got tired of being on the road all the time because I worked for Fisher Sand and Gravel, so I was never, ever home. And I turned around, my sons had graduated, then I had these girls coming up. I'm kind of jumping back a little bit, but so I started working at the brickyard, and I became a mechanic out there. And then I think that was the demise in my relationship with my ex, because I was always home, and we'd get out of each other's skin. So anyway, I was a single dad. We got divorced. I was a single dad, 2 teenage girls, and working at the brickyard. And then one of them ended up with a puppy, and then the other one got a puppy, and the puppies had puppies, and I was drinking, and it was just nuts. So I ended up getting into a little bit of trouble from drinking. So what I did was I decided to go into treatment and to quit drinking. So anyway, I've debated if I was going to talk about this or not today, but it's part of my story, and I need to, talk about it, I guess, anyway. So when I was in treatment at the New Freedom Center, we watched a TED Talk about this guy that started this big company. And he said he wanted to be transparent about everything, like to be open and honest. And he debated doing the same thing, like should I tell everybody I had a drinking problem and this and that. But anyway, so when I was in there, I was concentrating on getting sober, and then I worked at the brickyard, and it was just so negative, everybody there, I was one of the head mechanics, but then there was the mechanics underneath me were always coming up complaining about everything, and it was just so stressful. So when I got out, I was like, I'm not going back there. I just can't do it. And I had started this seasoning company. Well, I hadn't started the company yet. I started just like bringing it out to the brickyard, and my friends and everybody, you should sell this, you should sell this. So I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. Why not? So once I got out of treatment, I didn't have enough money for gas to get home, so I had to go donate plasma. I donated plasma, came home, started, messing around with seasoning. I went out to this farmer's market, and I sold 8 jars. And I was so butthurt, So I kind of almost wanted to give up on it. So I started, like, doing what I could. There was a guy, older Marine in town, and I was helping him, like, work on his buildings and, just doing things to keep busy. And I needed to register my pickup, so I ended up going to, I call it the SAD Mall, the Gateway Mall. Because they said there was a DMV kiosk there. And so there was this lady running a booth selling jewelry. And I went up to her and I started talking to her and I go, hey, where's the kiosk at? And she goes, yeah, it's down, you go in your car and you drive to the other mall. It's like, oh, okay. So I got to talking to her about being a vendor, and I said, well, they're having this swap meet coming into the old Sears building on Saturday. And she said, no, don't do that. She said, call this guy right here, Andrew. And she said, you don't have to pay, I think you have to pay like $20, and you can sit right outside the Sears building. So that's what I did. So I set up right outside the Sears building. I'd watch people come look at the charge to get into the Sears, and they turn around and walk away, and I'd be like, hey, come here. So I had my seasoning, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I was like, shake it out, like like people's hands, like I didn't know what to do. So I remember this lady at work that would bring these crackers in, and they were so good. And so I talked to her, and I said, how do you make these crackers? So I kind of looked at her recipe, and then I was like, that's basically what my seasoning is. And she would put it on these saltine crackers, and I'm like, well, I'm going to put it on these Jaydobo these oyster crackers. And from then on, it would just seem like it took off, because I could hand them to people, and people would try to walk away, and they would get that taste in their mouth, and they're like, oh, all right, give me one of them jars. So that's kind of how I started out. And then when I started doing vending, that's where you meet more people, and it's like a small, they call themselves like gypsies. But there was 2 ladies there that helped me out right away. They're like, here, you need to move your table over here. What are you doing without a tablecloth? Like everything, all I had was a stack of T-shirts and a stack of Jaydobo. And that was it. And they're like, all right. So actually, my friends that helped me out that day are still helping me to this day. I'm trying to give back by helping them. So I actually have a show going on right now in the Richland County Fair in Sidney, Montana. And Michelle, is actually running the show today for me. So yeah, we keep together. Oh, I guess I jumped ahead a little bit there. So from there, it went to the people trying the crackers, and they were like, wow, some of the older, because there was a bunch of mall walkers, and they're like, oh, it's too spicy for me. So I was like, all right. So what I did was I kept the exact same recipe, but right before I added the Carolina Reaper to it, I would pull it. And so if people that wanted, they like my flavor, but not the heat, I would do like special orders for them. And then so I was like, well, I can do this. And then, so I didn't know what to do. Like I wanted to be different. I didn't want to be like mild, medium, and hot or whatever. I just wanted to be different. So I talked to a few people, and then one of my friends was like, why don't you call it, I forget what he said, something. And I'm like, hey, let's go with mellow. And then I put a yellow label around it so it'd be, because I don't know if you've ever seen Back to the Future, where like, what are you, yeller? So that's what I put the yellow label around it and call it. So it's like a mellow, it's like a hidden joke, like mellow yellow. Yeah, so I got the mellow yellow. And then the first time last year I went to Sydney, and I said, so you guys like a little spicy? I always say that before I hand them the crackers, because I have the mellow and the original on crackers in there. So then the people in Sydney were like, what? I'm waiting for the heat to kick in here. What are you talking about? I'm like, what are you guys talking about? You guys are just Western North Dakota. You got the same palate as everybody. But they like it a lot hotter there. So I came back and I put 5 times as much Reaper in the original, and I call it the next level. So I'm curious to see how that goes there this year. Get a little payback on them. But yeah, so what I've been from then I met somebody that was a part of the Pride of Dakota, and for me, that's where everything basically changed, like from low level to like, I'm like at the mid-range right now, I'd say. From there, I got into the North Dakota Living magazine. They reached out to me. I applied for three grants for Chicago, New York, and Miami. And I've done Chicago, the Taste of States in Chicago with NASDA. I also have done New York, the Fancy Feast show, or not Fancy Feast, that's cat food. The Fancy Restaurant show, I don't know. I was like, what, I got to shake the Jaydobo with my pinky up now, I guess. But anyway, so from there, at NASDA, they have this thing where you can, it's like a dating pool where or speed dating, where you sit down with a foreign investor, and then you pitch them your product. You get like 15 minutes, and then they move on. So it's all about trying to connect, distributors with foreign buyers. So the first time I went there, they're like, so what's your minimum order? What's a pallet? What's a case? What's this? And I'm like, I don't know. Let me get back to you on that. Because I actually have a spice, he's called the Spice Guy out of Denver, that I have signed a non-disclosure agreement with. He has my recipe, and we've gone back and forth. I have everything lined up with him. I'm just waiting for that next order. And so I've been looking for distributors. I had one approach me right when I was fresh, and he wanted to be what do they call it? He wanted me to be just with him. Yeah, and I was like, no, that's not happening. And I'm glad I didn't, because I've been talking to a few other friends and they're not one of the best distributors around North Dakota. So my problem is I'm terrible at doing phone work and paperwork and all this stuff. So I'm really bad at follow-up. So I've talked to another distributor. He called me back, and then I haven't done the call back yet. But it's like, I've been contemplating in my mind, like, do I really want to go the distribution route? Because, well, I know I need to, but it's like, at the same time, whenever I distribute, I lose, like, all my profit. Because I'd rather just do shows and, sell online or whatever like that. So it's kind of a bittersweet deal, So I got approached by Runnings and a couple weeks ago, and I got into there. And I'm in all the mom and pop shops. So what I like to do is I like to do a show, and then like if there's a butcher shop in town, I'll go approach them and see if they want it. So I did that one year when I went to the Pride of Dakota show in Fargo. I went around, and every place I went to, because there's a list on the Pride of Dakota website that has people that distribute Pride of Dakota products. And so everyone I went to was like, yeah, I'll take 2 cases. I'll take a case. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I knew Christmas was coming soon, and I was like, maybe I better slow down a little bit here and get myself over my head, because I mix everything myself in the commercial kitchen in Hebron. So I just have a big bowl that I can do 30 at a time. And I have a counter on my sealer, and the last time I looked at it, it was over 10,000 jars that I've sold just by one big bowl at a time. So I would really like to be to the next level where I can, go to a co-packer, have him, mix, label, everything for me, and then I can just distribute myself or, come up with a distributor. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to go with that route yet. I'm just having fun, actually. I really like going to shows, and I like playing with seasonings. Right now I'm in talks with talking with Cold Country Coffee. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but I'll give one of the names away. And so I have some of his coffee, and I've been working on a steak rub. And then also, here. Yeah, this is where I'm at here. I keep getting ahead of the slides. So I'm talking with him, and then I do this thing that's called Sundance. I'm a firekeeper out there at Fort Yates, and it's every year they dance, and they dance for our community to help us. So I like to give back when I can. So I go out there every year and I help them maintain the fire, because if the fire burns out, then the ceremony's over, and I don't want to be that guy. So there was a guy out there this year. He told me, you know what you should do is that you should dry some choke cherries or some June berries or something, and it's called ojapi. Is what the Sioux they make like this sweet like a berry. So the last show I was at in White Shield, I bought a bunch of June berries, and I got some powdered honey, And so what that's my next one I'm working on. I'm gonna do like a North Dakota-based kind of sort of roots, try to keep it all together and come up with a wajapi seasoning. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Okay, yeah, I gotta give props to the people that helped me out along the ways. So one day I was watching TV and I came across this show called Undercover Billionaire. And it was about this guy that gave away all his money. They gave him $100 in an old pickup. And he said he could become a millionaire or start $1 million business in 90 days. And one of his first stops was a small business development center. So I was like, So that was one of my first stops I went to the Dickinson Small Business Development Center, and they helped me start up my LLC and all that. I'm kind of jumping back and forth here, and then I met a man named Ryan Botner that I know he's done a speech here with Cornerstone, and this is what he told me, is try not to become a man of success, but rather become a man of value. So every day I wake up, I get on my knees and I pray, and I ask, to be a better man, a man of value, and to help others, and to, excuse me, sorry. I get emotional when it comes to it. It's really important to me. So I pray, and then I meditate for 20 minutes, and I just kind of free my mind and let everything listen, and I just kind of go. And so it seems to me like people come into my life, or they leave, and it's all coming together because of the way that I do my best to be not to be like to keep my ego in check and to like just to help others. So like I have a collaboration with Hurt Ridge Candy out of Dickinson. He has taken my seasoning and put it on Skittles and then freeze dried it. He calls them Kittles. So that's like a spicy freeze dried candy. I met another Marine at a show in Jamestown. He's from Iowa, and he sells beer bread and like dips. And we come to find out that we were in the exact same platoon in Okinawa, just 10 years apart. Same platoon, same buildings, everything was exact same. And so I was like, we got to do something together. So we have a collaboration of a beer bread together. And right now he's working on a dip. I met a few people in New York that are actually from North Dakota. And I don't want to drop names on there because there's some pretty big companies. But I think I'll have a couple good collaborations going with a couple other businesses coming up here shortly. So I just got to stay on the mic and keep hounding them, I guess. But that's all I got for now. Thank you, guys.
Well, if you don't like spices, you could just like Jay and like his products. Because I think, like looking at your social media, Jay, and like you're a very authentic person. Like you're just real, and like that kind of flows through Jaydobo too. Like you can see it in your social media personality you built, and just in the way you talk with people. It's really refreshing. So yeah, thank you. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Can I see that clicker for a second? I had to start. Sorry, with I know I mentioned I'm going to fanboy out for just a second. Okay. So this so just quick story about a Jaydobo tidbit from my experience with your products is my son just graduated from high school this last year, but over the last 3-4 years, him and his buddies would come over. We kind of had this tradition where 3 or 4 times a year, usually during football season, we'd do a big wing fest, and I'd make like 30 pounds of wings for the fellas. And it started out the first 2 or 3 times we did it, I'd do half barbecue and half Jaydobo seasoning. And I noticed that at the end of the day, the crock pot of barbecue was usually almost still full. The Jaydobo crock pot was empty, and the fellas started saying, "Hey, Dad, can we just skip the barbecue and just go all Cajun?" And so that's what it ended up being the last I don't know, 6 or 7 times we did it. It was just straight Cajun, and then I call it Cajun. I don't know if that's
Well, it's actually an adobo seasoning from like the Mediterranean or something like that. I don't know. It's my own now, but my buddy, brother Brandon, and his whole family are Cajun from the West Bank, and they all haven't switched over from Tony. So I guess if you want to call it, yeah.
I think in North Dakota, I don't know what Cajun is, but that's what it feels like.
Right, yeah.
And then one more quick thing. So my stepson turns 13 today, and I asked him last week, all right, what do you want for your birthday meal, Kieran? And he said, I want wings, straight wings with the Cajun, he said. And so he's a big fan too, so that's good. So we're having wings with Jaydobo tonight. But, and happy birthday to the K-Man too.
Right, happy birthday.
But yes, I'll pass it over to Joe here with a question.
Morning.
Morning.
So, story more than a question. So, I was over at some flea market type setup in one of the malls here in Bismarck, and as me and my 4-year-old were getting ready to leave, we walk by and we see the oyster crackers out, and little guy goes, "Oh, can I have some?" And when he has his mind set to something, he's got it set. Now, this kid, I saw the product and I was like, buddy, it's going to be probably a little warm for you because you think ketchup is spicy. And he's got the North Dakota palate. And so me, I could eat your hot seasoning straight up. So I was like, I don't know about this. And he goes, no, I want to try it. And he eats 2 of them, 2 of the 2-ounce cups. Doesn't bat an eye at anything. I give him the mild one, of course. But I do have to say, we ended up buying, at that time, was the first bottle because of the girls working the table that were really good to him. You know, that they were very personable, very kind to him. And so I bought a bottle as a thank you, and that was the first introduction to buying your product. So I guess a comment I would say, you know, if you do find a way to make that distribution on your own, I think where you have a leg up, as well as a lot of the other Pride of North Dakota products, is that human interaction. You know, it was well done, and that I wanted to make that known. We would probably, we don't go through a lot. I'm the spice guy in the house, so I don't go through a lot of it, but I'm the type guy that would put Tony Chachere's on everything. I put it on quesadillas on the out, like I'll spray on the outside of the quesadilla, and I'll put seasoning on the outside of it to give it more taste. I'm that guy. So you probably will have a customer for a long time just from the customer service and there's that good interaction.
Thank you so much.
So you talked about, Jay, over 10,000 bottles, just one big bowl at a time. Like, as you were kind of scaling this up, what were some of the big lessons learned production-wise, if there were any, on how you got really efficient at doing that? Because that's a lot of jars.
Right. So when I first started, I would go to the local grocery store and I'd buy I'd tell them I need, because they could order cases of seasoning for me. That's when they were $1 for a big jar. And then they ended up getting more, they made the baller smaller and charged more. So I can't buy this from you guys anymore. But it always irritated me because the back of the jar would always, the chili powders especially would say a non-caking agent. And I'm like, what the heck is that? I don't even want to put this in my body. So I ended up, how I upscaled that was I found this place called the Fruit Basket in Albuquerque. And they have non-seeded or de-seeded, de-stemmed chili pepper they grind up and that's it. And so it's hatch chili powders. I switched to that and I started using a Webstron. So I can buy like bulk big time. And so I started my garlic lovers because I ended up buying 25 pounds of roasted granulated garlic and I don't use that in my product. They wouldn't take it back. So I was like, well, yeah, I better do something with this. And my mom always loved garlic and she's like, you should make a garlic lovers. And I was like, well, all right, you know. So my mom actually drew the garlic because I tried to get away from like I love my logo and what it represents and everything, but people look at it and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to touch it. Because like one guy came up to me and he said his wife thought ketchup was spicy. He said my wife thinks butter's spicy, so they won't even touch it. So anytime I get a chance, I made the Jaydizzle and I put a pickle there instead of the pepper. And then I put like the roasted garlic lovers. My mom drew garlic for me, and then I put that there. So it's just I kind of got off your subject there.
Yeah.
But
No, it's funny how it's just like these almost little mistakes, how they lead to more opportunities.
Exactly. Yeah, I ended up selling that 25 pounds, another 25, and I'm on my third 25-pound bag now, I think.
Yeah. It's actually one thing we're going to do. So the Kinders is a very popular spice company that they carry at Costco, and they have a garlic. It's garlic, just garlic, salt, and pepper. That's their garlic blend. So we got to do the taste test with your garlic blend to see which.
Sure.
We go through a lot of Kinders too. But, Evan's got a question.
Yeah, I've given advice to a lot of entrepreneurs over the years to kind of scale back variations of products and reducing numbers of SKUs. It seems like a lot of times people have this innate need to do that. I think your situation is a little bit different because it does make sense to expand that product line where it makes sense. So I guess I'm kind of curious, how many different products do you have now? And then what would be kind of your common thread across those products? Is it the clean ingredients? Is it, what kind of makes it a Jaydobo product?
Okay, yeah, clean ingredients. I'm trying to, let me gather my thoughts here. Like, with making because I had the mellow and the original, and then everybody's, I love your stuff, but I still have it on my shelf. So when I came up with the garlic, they would, I love your stuff, I have it on my shelf, and I'm like, hey, but have you tried the new garlic lovers? Oh, no. So when I first introduced it at the Pride of Dakota in Bismarck, I brought 2 cases, and I sold all those like within, I had people fighting because Mike at Dakota Nuts and Candy, he wanted 10 for his store, and so I was like, oh, I could lose half my money and give it to him, or I can sell it right here, and people are fighting over it. And I was like, no, I'm a man of my word. Here you go, Mike. And I told my buddies, like, they were there, like, he's like, I'm not buying from anybody but you. I was like, oh, okay. And my friend gets that a lot too, because I guess it's my magnetic personality or something. But so well, my idea behind everything is like the garlic lovers is 3 different kinds of garlic blended together with my seasoning. And then so I don't have to change much. Like all my whole line is everything's the same. It's all based off the mellow, and then it just gets hotter. So like the wajapi that I'm talking about making is going to be powdered honey, dried June berries, and then I'll mix it with my product. So that way I can keep it simple at the same time expanding, new product. And then like the Jaydizzle, I can't even say it myself, but anyway, that one is in response to I have local pepper growers, Jai's Honey and Heat at Bismarck, and they grow these super hots for me. And so the last 2 years I've made a gold label. I make a gold label of my product, and I make a gold label of my hot sauce, which is just like instead of using table salt, I use ancient sea salt from Utah. The paprika is from Manal. It's like $50 a pound or whatever. And then so whenever the Christmas time comes around, it gets really busy. That's when I start making, and then the harvest comes through. Then I make the gold label hot sauce. So instead of carrying the gold line all year round, I kind of want to make it like Christmas, like it only comes every once in a while, and everyone's excited. Well, you got that gold label yet? To keep it fresh. And then so that was my pickle sauce. Was my answer to that was so I can just jump back and forth. In the summer, I can sell pickle sauce for hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff like that. And in the wintertime, I can justify charging $20 a jar because it cost me a lot to make, for one, and then for two, like, it's really good. Because I had one guy give me a hard time one time. He's like, that better be some damn good hot sauce for $20. And I go, okay, I'll take a jar, So, yeah, that's kind of my idea behind everything. And then for, like, a cold packer, it'll be easy for him because he can just add garlic to my seasoning or whatever. Yeah.
So you have your base recipe, and
Yep.
everything else you do is just an iteration on that.
Exactly.
I'm excited for the sweet heat one with the, how do you say that word again?
Wajapi?
Wajapi. That,
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what that's going to taste like. But Johnny, a question here.
Okay, before my question, quickly, I don't know if you have a good Juneberry source, but I'm from Walhalla in the northeast corner of the state, and they have a beautiful crop of Juneberries.
Yes.
So if you ever need a connection,
Yes,
let me
I need to
know.
get your number.
Because it's growing right here in the state, and
Yeah.
wow. Okay, my actual question. So I communicate with Eric at Cramp Aid, and so I was aware that you were on the short list of people that got to go to New York for the cat food festival. No, I'm just kidding. I love that. And I can't remember the name of it either, or I'd help you out.
It's a fancy food.
Fancy Foods.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, I don't know if a lot of people are aware that the state does that, selects people to go on these events. So if you could just share a little backstory for our audience of how were you chosen? Was it an application process?
Okay.
And then what was that like, and what has that meant for your business? Because I know you've got some potential stuff you're not going to talk about with some of the other people who were there, and
Right.
I know the list, and I won't share it either. And I have some ideas, and I know what's going on. But just what other things that has meant for your business and getting that kind of exposure in big cities like Chicago and New York.
Okay, so it's actually the Pride of Dakota. They're a part of the Department of Agriculture, and so NASDA is the National Association for Department of Agriculture or something. I don't know. So what they do. It's her name's Shauna. Her and Katrina are the best. It helps that they like my product too. But so what they do is they send out mass emails to everybody in the Pride of Dakota. And then if like we don't, they prefer to go to like the smaller mom and pop shops first. And so we get like first priority. And then if they can't fill the place, because it's all out of pocket first. Like you get reimbursed, but it comes out of your pocket. Now they give you like $7,000 a show, but I think Chicago cost me like $10,000 or whatever. So what they do is they wait till they get as many people from they can, and then they start hitting up the bigger companies that are in Pride of Dakota.
Question in back here. Oh, Chris.
More comment. I got to meet you at one of those shows, something at the event center. I don't know what it was, but the pickle sauce, like I have stopped putting pickles on hamburgers. I just use that. So it's just a shout out for what you got there. I absolutely love it.
Thank you. There's another Pride of Dakota company, Aggies, and her husband, Dan, he just loves my stuff. He said he was drinking it out of the bottle.
Also, an essential ingredient to any good Bloody Mary or Caesar bar, too, I'd say, is both the J Basco and the J Dilzel is really good there. But
He mentioned that when I was trying to decide if I was going to buy the bottle.
Yeah.
Mary's, I was like, with that I will.
Yeah, I haven't had one myself. I haven't had a drink in over 3.5 years, but yeah, if I ever start drinking again, I'll probably have to put one, a little bit in there.
So you mentioned, Jay, you're kind of hitting your head on this ceiling, right, of whatever this mid-tier or this tier of scaling you're at right now. You're looking for that distributor. You know your margins are going down in that space. You know, as you're thinking about this, is there an ideal mix that you have in mind for what you'd want to do direct to consumer through e-commerce or shows versus what you'd want to do through wholesalers? Or it's always challenging to get to that level because it's the chicken or the egg thing. You kind of need a cold packer to hit the cost you need to get some margins on the wholesale, but without the distributor in place, it's hard to get that co-packer on board. So like, how are those conversations going, and do you have an idea of what kind of mix you'd want to see there?
Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. It's like I got the people are asking me like how much a case and how much this and that. And so I got a hold of my guy, and he's like, well, it's 500 a case or 500 a pallet, 24 in a case or 12 in a case. So I had all the answers I needed, but then I'm not getting the distributor. Like I said, I talked to one out of North Dakota because I pitched Hornbachers, and they were all for my product, but then they'd rather go through a distributor. So that's when I contacted the distributor again, because we went back and forth a few times. I contacted him, and he contacted me, and then I kind of let it go. So then I left him a message, and then, so I'm really bad about following up. So that gives me time to think, like, do I really want a distributor? Or I want to, because I really love doing shows, but I know I can't do it for the rest of my life. But I also would like, I think my number one goal would be to just be like e-commerce, like, because I've been reaching out to, what do they call them, influencers. Mm-hmm. And so I've had a few, and I've got one right now that's, she's working on making some tacos or something. She's going to produce one of them. So I would love to just go viral one day and just be able to just like sell it all and make, instead of losing half my money, I can keep it going. So, yeah.
Or even like what some product-based companies will do is they'll drop ship. And then they'll have like a merchandising box they send. So you're sending cases of product, and then you have your merchandising box that you're sending to the retailer as well. So it's their whole, like it could be a little end cap on an aisle, or like like Ace Hardwares or Menards or kind of any like grilling related spaces that you could be in. And they'll drop ship cases, but then you send that merchandising box too. So it's just kind of a plug and play, ready to go, putting it out there. Have you done any drop shipping or anything like that? Or
No, I got approached by Shields when I did the Shields Arena in Fargo, and so she's like, "I love your stuff." I gave her samples, and then I just never followed up on it.
we should. You and I should talk.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
get a game plan in place.
Yeah.
But, question here.
Thank you so much for your authenticity and inspiration. Oh my goodness, this is fantastic. Where in Bismarck or the local areas can we find your products?
Okay, if you want some right now, you can talk to me after the show. But let me see here. Runnings is like the biggest one that I'm in. But then I'm in the Plaza Mall. The Red. If you want to get it really cheap right now, I'd go to Red Brick Gifts because they're having she's closing her store down, and she has quite a few Dakota or Pride of Dakota products of mine as well. Plaza Drug, Prairie Creek, Butcher Block. My barber, Kevin, actually, he was the first store that I was ever in. And he's in the strip mall in Mandan down by, the 40s, the salon's on 40s.
Okay.
And he just ended up with cancer, and he's been battling that. So I've been really praying for him every morning. But he carries my product as well. But he's kind of hit and miss right now because he's getting over his chemotherapy and all that stuff. But
Awesome. One other thing, that when you're talking about the Juneberry, my brain immediately goes to, in lemonade, put that berry and spice in a lemonade, and if you want to spike it, great, but if not, but I don't know.
yeah, that's a good.
That's where
yeah,
my brain goes.
definitely. I like your brain.
One thing I never asked you about, Jay, is like Jay Basco came out. I had no idea you were even working on that. What was the kind of trigger point for getting into sauces and
Okay, well, I had one of my buddies that grew peppers, and he gave me a whole bunch of super hots, and I don't remember what they were. And so that was when I was going to a lot of meetings and stuff like that. And one of the guys I gave to, he goes, "Man, you need to start selling this." And I was like, "No, it's so hard to make because you got to wait like 30 days, at least 30 days because it ferments. I have these big Fido jars. So I started with one of those, and then I just kept adding because I got to take it to a show and everybody, it would sell out. And so I'm like, okay, I'll bring more. And like almost every show I bring it to, like I sell out of it. Yeah, so it's kind of just one of the add to, because people go through it a lot quicker than my seasoning. So it's kind of like a filler to help me keep going.
But I didn't realize it was a fermented product either.
Yeah.
The dill sauce, the J Dill's.
It's not, no.
That's not.
No,
Okay.
I can bust that out real quick.
And at our house, we don't have a problem with your product caking because it doesn't last in the cupboard long enough. But like that non-caking agent, you don't use that.
Zero.
And
yeah.
you have so it's achieving something for the products that do use it. Like, do you have any issues with caking, or have
No,
you had it?
I don't believe so. I don't in my jars because I don't sprinkle it whenever it's real hot, like steam coming up, because that's one way to get it. But like, mine has enough salt in there to keep it from caking, I believe. So, and then I don't use that's one other thing. I can get all my products from Webster and from the Fruit Basket, but the salt, I've done the pricing on it, and to get a 50-pound bag of salt is like $300, whatever. I can go to Walmart and buy those little tiny 76, they were 67 cents, but now they're 76, the salt shakers that are 26 ounces, whatever, for 76 cents. So it's still way cheaper to buy. So I go around like once a week or so, I don't know, once a week, but I go to every single Walmart in town and buy then I go to all the Dan's and I buy all their peppers, and it's just the whole thing as well. Yeah, I need to work on that stuff too.
The more your memes are really good. I like your Instagram page and your, like I said, your personality definitely flows through the branding and the business. Do you do all that yourself? Like, who do you have helping you with that part of it?
Yeah, so when I started doing it myself, and then there was a girl that I was in treatment with, and her name was Jerry, and so I did a survivor challenge by myself. I did 7 days out, just me and my dog living off the land, and so I was like, here, you can go ahead and be my admin for a week or whatever. So she's native, so she would make all these like native ones, and everybody's like, what, did Jay go native or what? Because I was like, well, put your name on there. And so she hasn't had her name at the very end all the time. And then she kind of quit for a little while, and then she would get a little bit like, too much, and so that's when I started with other companies, and they're like, you can't be doing that. You know, like, all right. So I kind of had to politely, I didn't ask her, but she quit posting for a while, so then I kind of just slipped her out of there real quick. But yeah, it's just, I love her, and but yeah, it's just like.
And if some of the content is a little spicy.
Well, then I talk. See, I used to run it by my mom first, and my mom would be like, "No, Jay, don't do that." And then so I talked to. I wish I could name drop him. I think his name's Philip. He runs some like production company in Bismarck, and he goes, I sent him one that was kind of risque one, and then he's like, "No, send it." He's like, just don't worry about it like that. He said, "That's the way you are. That's your personality. That's your authenticity." He said, "Just go with it." And then, because that's what people like, big businesses are trying to do that, needing to be like edgy or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's authenticity. It's being real.
Right.
And I think you do a good job. Like, you're not crossing lines. You're just kind of pushing boundaries a little bit.
Yeah. Well, because it was one where it was like this old lady was getting dressed, and there was this kid, and now it's time to pay up for that Jaydobo or whatever. My mom was like, "No way!" And then as soon as I sent that one, I got like, I usually get like 16, 17 likes every day, but that one was like 60 likes. You know.
Gotta give
Yeah,
people,
sorry, mom.
Gotta give the people what they want.
Yeah, exactly.
Evan, last question here.
All right, yeah, just quickly. So is this your full-time gig now? And I guess when did it become that? And can you talk a little bit about that transition of saying, okay, yeah, this is what I do now?
Yeah, I talked a little bit about that one in my talk. I used to work at the Brickyard as a mechanic, and I didn't want to go back into that negative nonsense. So I just grinned and bared it, and I guess I watched too much Shark Tank or something. I quit my job and just went for it, you know. And yeah, this is all I do now. So I do a show just about every weekend, sometimes 2 shows every weekend, just enough to. Thank you for keeping my lights on another day. You know, like it just to me it was worth it just to be out there and just to go for it. Like if anybody has like. They got something that they got going on, and they're kind of in that like, oh my goodness, what should I do? Just don't be scared. I say, just go for it. Just it'll all fold. It all like comes together somehow. I don't know how it works, but it does. Yeah.
No, absolutely, Jay. Takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable and real and tell your story the way you do. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your story here this morning. We're up to our last question of the morning, and I'll let Ross do the honors.
Thanks again for your story. I can't wait to have your product. Loser, haven't done it yet. But thank you for presenting. So, what can we as the 1 Million Cups community do to help you to succeed?
Like my page, follow me, and share it. That's basically it. Like help me just get known. Yeah, because as soon as somebody tries it, like. You're going to love it or hate it, one or the other, and most of them love it.
There's not a lot of mild
product. Exactly, yeah.
Well, like I said, if you haven't tried it, I'm a big fan of every product. I'm looking for. I haven't tried the Jay Dillsley yet, and I'm looking forward to that. Jay, again, thank you so much for the time this morning, sharing your story, for everything you're doing with Jaydobo. Let's hear it for Jay one more time. All right, coming up at 1 Million Cups, we have Patrick Vanier, another past presenter with Golden Pass Solutions. So Patrick's out of Fargo doing some great work in the education and community space, helping connect students with clear career tracks and getting them on an appropriate education track. Then we have the part 2 of our 3-part AI series. You might know these fellas, Marlo Anderson and Arnie Streeb. We'll be talking about some use cases for AI in small business right now after that. And then, are we on the road after that? Yeah, 1MC goes on the road. So we're in Mandan talking about a program that used to be out there and is still out there, Marketplace of Ideas, going to be kind of a celebration of some of the stories that came out of that and hopefully re-energizing that a little bit. So we'll be in Mandan that week. If you want to stay in the loop on what we have going on here at 1 Million Cups, here are all our social media links. If you or someone you know are interested in presenting, our 2025 calendar is quickly filling up, but we do still have a couple spots available. Shoot us an email at that email there. And I think that's all we have for you this week. So thank you all so much for coming. Let's make it a great rest of the week.